That's better. Welcome to the LANCave. We're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, hanging out with Owen. Yeah, we're talking about nerd news, gaming news, all the fun stuff. You got my D&D starter set. I'm starting up a D&D game. I'm excited about it. Yeah. I got a bunch of noobs around here, so I was like, I'm gonna do a game just for new people, so that way they're not intimidated by people who are, who know more than them.
So you're DMing again?
I am DMing again. Yeah. I may. So John and I are also a couple breaking news about personal stuff, and then we'll do more breaking news. John and I are talking about Fantasy Grounds, which is via Steam. It's allows people to play modules of like D&D and Pathfinder and all that kind of stuff. He got a subscription, or whatever you want to call it, a license, not a subscription, a license for it. I've got one, and we're going to try it out and see how it is for DMing, because I may start DMing remotely again. If we can use that, it's supposed to be a lot better than what I was trying to do last time.
Is it the thing that has like the built-in thing where you can like do your game board digitally?
Yeah, so you do your game board digitally. Yeah, but also the rule sets. Yeah, you also buy the rule sets, so you can say if you want to do Pathfinder or Starfinder.
I was wondering if they were incorporate it, because I think I saw this like maybe last year. I don't know how old it is.
Yeah, it's a couple years old. Yeah,
because I think at least when it launched, maybe I didn't remember hearing about it having any licensed stuff, but I remember being like it was like a thing where you could like build your own thing inside of it. It's kind of like a virtual playground.
Gotcha.
And so if they have that, if they then start licensing it out, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, this one's licensed. I don't know if it's the same one that you were thinking about, but this one's licensed where you unfortunately you have to buy. So you buy the license for the game in order to run it, unless you have the super $140 ultimate package. That every player has to have a license to play. But if you have that huge pack, so if you have the $140 package, you can invite anybody, even if they don't have a license for the game. But so you pay for the license for the game itself, and then you have to buy, if you're going to DM, that's when you have to buy books. It's rule sets and digital stuff, which is about the same price as the actual books, which I thought was kind of dumb, but. If it's a tight system and it works well and it's easy to DM, then I may adopt it.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I'd be interested because I don't know if you're gonna record it like you planned on last time, but I'd want to at least watch a thing of it to see how it goes. I can't commit to a game right now, but it'd be cool to one shot sometime. Of course. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we may one shot. We'll figure that out. Like John and I are going to do a test run of it next week, so that way we can work out the kinks and see. And we'll talk about it here on the show because that's what we do. But breaking news, like just now, like right as soon as we're about to start the show, Obi Wan is delayed indefinitely. That is the dumbest words that's ever been said. So apparently there was like a thing floating around that it was straight up canceled, and that is not true. But what happened is that producers started sending people home, and the reason why is that Kathleen Kennedy, who's the president of Lucasfilm, if you didn't know, apparently did not like these scripts, and so they don't know if they're gonna get a new writer or not. I don't know. The screenwriter was the person who wrote Drive, apparently.
Okay, that's interesting.
And the director was one of, I don't know why, I guess she directed a Mandalorian episode because there were several directors of that season. Yeah. But Deborah Chow, I don't know who that is either. They don't know if they're going to stick around or not, but this is a huge bummer.
That is the worst news. So if you guys didn't know, by the way, Disney Plus suffered a downtick of subscribers. It's not a ton, but they the subscriptions like lowered, or the predicted subscriptions, whatever. I can't remember if it's official, after Mandalorian finished. Because what do we have right now? We have the Disney, we have Disney stuff, we have Star Wars stuff, but like I have a lot of this stuff already on Blu-ray.
I don't, but but in terms of content that makes you sub to a thing, like there was the Lumineering, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the
whatever the thing is,
Imagineering stuff.
Imagineering, that's it. My wife really likes that.
I loved it.
Behind the scene of Parks, like that was a thing. I haven't watched the Jeff Goldblum thing at all. They did another kids type Disney show on there about like Diary of a Future President. So I don't know if the kid's supposed to be like really smart. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the other original content that's on there.
Encore with what's her name? Kristen Bell.
Yeah, I heard that was actually pretty great.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Decent, like I don't know if I want to call it reality TV, but it's basically reality TV. Yeah, it's trash, but it's good trash. As Whitney's in the other room watching that Cheer thing on Netflix right now, which
Cheer
is
good stuff. Not trash.
It's good. It's good stuff.
We watched that whole thing. We finished it a couple days ago.
Yeah, Jerry's the best. He's the best.
Great documentary, especially from somebody who normally hates Netflix documentaries, because a lot of them are trash. A lot of them are very biased and unfounded on studies. This one was just like, let's just follow around these people, and it was good stuff.
Yeah, I loved it.
But Obi Wan, you were saying that this was something that would keep subscribers around, but it's not just that. Like, it's freaking Ewan McGregor, man. Like, we've been wanting this. Like, this is like something. This is actually one of the things that like Star Wars fans kind of banded around. It's like, yeah, we all want more Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, and I hope they tighten it up. They need to call Jon Favreau if they haven't already. Just do it. Just
make him the phage of the Star Wars TV universe.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, he loves it. Let him graduate to run to be a showrunner for everything, and get us back on price. Who's that?
Gary Whitta. He's the guy who wrote Rogue One.
Oh yeah. Rogue One. Also known as the best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi?
To some people.
I think that Rogue One in a lot of ways was better than the Star Wars sequels of the recent trilogy. I loved Force Awakens, though. I mean, that movie's fun.
It's pretty much like, I was going to say, like, Force Awakens to me is the best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi, but Rogue One would then be... I ranked them. I'd have to look at that picture again, but they were very close. But I love the magic of Force Awakens. Whereas Rogue One, it's the dark Star Wars everybody's been wanting. But
I don't care if it was dark. Like, the story was succinct, and they did stuff I didn't expect Disney to do. Like, you don't usually kill off all those people, and they did. Like,
they had, like, some of those rebels were like stone cold killers too. So
that's what they needed, though. That's what they needed. Speaking of dark stuff, I've been playing The Sinking City, which, by the way, this trailer makes it look so much better than it is.
Because it's a story-driven game, isn't it?
It's a story-driven game. I like the story. The gameplay is, I'd say, like, it looks and feels like the tail end, if not mid to tail end, of Xbox 360 era. So it's not bad, but it's chunky. You're getting in and out of this like little like what are they called? It's like this little like canoe kind of thing. You get in and out of like the little motorboat, and there's a less than a half a second of an animation of him getting from the boat to the shore, and then you're just standing on the shore. So there's a lot of corners cut, but I really like the story. It's Lovecraft based, and surprisingly, it still keeps a lot of the stuff that they don't like to talk about when it comes to Lovecraft. I don't know if you read Lovecraft, but he's racist.
Oh yeah,
and
I haven't read. I know, but like that Lovecraft's actually like come out recently. There were some articles about him and like trying to be like, Lovecraft's a racist, and everybody's like, duh. Yeah,
because we actually read it. But I feel like they kind of danced around it a little bit, where they instead of in his words, and Lovecraft would talk about people straight up, like all the evil people would be like dark skinned, and he would refer to them as mongoloid or ape like, and instead of that, they've like made them like literally look like apes, but they don't have anything to do with like any ethnicity. So it keeps the people viewing each other in a negative way without straight up pointing and saying, hey, that's what this is supposed to be, which I appreciated, because it was like, let's keep the otherism, which is always bad, but keep the otherism without pointing at any race, which I thought was interesting. And I don't think anybody else would catch that, but parallel.
Is it kind of point and clicky? Like you
No.
You walk around and click on stuff.
It's third person.
Dialogue based.
It's third person. Unfortunately, it's story driven, but the dialogue they don't have very good at dialogue trees. It is third person. A little bit of action, but it's mostly about like surviving. Or when you do have to battle, you can run away, but the crux of the game is solving mysteries. So you find a crime scene and you try to piece together what's going on, and your character has these weird visions, and using your psychosis, as it were, to a positive, you can piece together the mystery of what happened and then solve it and like tell people, hey, this is who killed your son or what have you.
Gotcha. Yeah. That kind of makes me think about because I'm going to talk about backlogging in a minute.
Yeah.
Like you know how Oberdin, the game I told you about last year?
Yeah.
Where like it's a detective type thing where you piece it together. I actually bought that because it's on sale right now.
Okay.
But I like that kind of stuff. I think you said it was made by the same people who did all the Sherlock stuff.
Yes. Like I looked them up on Wikipedia, and like I think 3/4 of the games they've done have been the Sherlock Holmes games. And now I'm like, I kind of want to go and play those because I played one a little bit, and I really enjoyed. I mean, the gameplay may be clunky, but I liked problem solving and trying to figure out like who done it and stuff.
My wife dug them. Because I ended up buying her, I think, all of them at one point, just because it was simple, like they're not overly complicated games or anything. It's just you play them to play them, and there's that puzzle factor there.
And it's not stressful.
If you like this, you probably like that too.
So this one gets a little stressful when it comes to like the combat, but like I feel like the Sherlock Holmes ones are probably even more up my alley, as much as I like the atmosphere of and the weird, macabre, and like that's why I like Bloodborne, by the way. Bloodborne's very Lovecraft in the cosmic horror sense, so I like that about this game. But the mystery of solving a case was something that I think, if the gameplay's not that great but the story's good, or it allows me to think outside the box and creative, it's cool, it's worth it. Yeah.
You were talking about stressful games, and I've been playing a stressful game in Sea of Solitude.
Yeah.
Not stressful gameplay wise, because it actually is not a very complicated game. There's some very light platforming. But you can tell that this game was made by somebody who was using it as a catharsis. And there's even a warning at the beginning of the game that the creator is not a psychologist, and that she made this game to kind of work through some stuff.
Okay.
And that is very, very apparent. So there's like, you are this monster-looking girl, and you are basically like facing your demons. And there's like a demon of like, I won't go too much into it because it's all story, but like there's a demon of like stuff going on with different family members. There's a boyfriend there, and kind of accepting her role, but also like not facing her depression. And her depression is constantly there in the form of this like giant whale looking thing that will eat you if you fall in the water for too long. So it's very stressful in that you have to be in the right mindset to go through it. That's actually why I didn't play it last year when it came out. It was one of those EA indie games that I saw at E3, and I always, for some reason, I tend to latch on to EA's indies. I don't know why, but they like Unraveled was a thing a couple of years ago, and then this one came out last year, and it was right around when my son was born, and I was like, I can't really play like a depressed game right now. I'm dealing with the baby. I don't want to think about this stuff, so I saved it until just this week. I already finished it. It is a game though, like where if you're like, I want to play a game where I want to experience some emotions. I don't know if you ever do that, like where you watch like a movie or a TV show because you want to have emotions, like This Is Us or something like that. I don't know if you've ever watched This Is Us. But I definitely watched an episode of that one time because I felt like crying. Yeah. And so I was like, I need to cry, and I can't cry on my own, so I'm gonna watch This Is Us. So it is a game like that where if you're like, I need to experience some emotions right now, I definitely suggest playing a game like this.
Yeah. No, I will say, I think of TV shows and I think of movies and video games. It's all art, and if it brings up emotion, it brings out emotion from you, then it's done its job. so the writers for This Is Us, like, I've watched I think like half the first season, but like the writers were saying like their job, they take every episode and they're like, how can we make people even more sad? How can we make them even more emotional? And I was like, man, that sucks. And then I thought, how many horror directors are doing the same thing where they're like, I want to scare the crap out of people? And it's the same thing with This Is Us. They're like, we need to make the saddest show ever. And they did it.
I want this dude's girlfriend to scream so hard.
Yep. But that's how like the horror directors are, right? Because you're like, I like, not the cheap jump scares, like, but like serious, like this needs to be frightening. That's the frame of reference that you have to come at it, and that's straight up how the writers for This Is Us like answer that in an interview, and everyone thought that was weird, and I thought it was at first until I thought about it and saying, well, that's how art is. You're trying to bring that emotion out of people, and if you did it, you won. You succeed.
I mean, think about if you were, thought it was weird that a sitcom was wanting to make you laugh more.
Sure.
Like, the writers in a sitcom are like, I want to produce the best, most timed laughs here, and here. And if you thought that was weird, so I hadn't heard that, but I can totally see that, where it's like, I really want to push that kind of emotion, which it worked. I watched the pilot, and the pilot is very emotional.
The pilot threw me for a loop because I didn't know anything about the show.
Yeah, me either.
And holy crap, because you have all the three main characters. Sorry, while we talk about This Is Us for a second, but you watch the three main characters, and you're like, oh, they're just three people. I don't know how they know each other. And then you're like, oh, that's what it is. Like, completely shocked me. And I know part of that they did with they look so different physically that you don't make that connection at first, and it was brilliant. It's good stuff for what it's
nice
doing.
Whenever regular TV can get some decent writing, it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I will say, if you're not, I feel like it's up your alley if you haven't watched it. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is great.
It.
Okay. So
I love all things stand up. So it took me a little while. The first season was kind of to me, but it really, whenever they go to the Catskills, that's when the show really kicks in for me.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all of it mostly. I love Tony Shalhoub. I love Kevin Pollak. I didn't watch House of Cards. Like, I know I need to, but I know that was what she's known for. Rachel's known for before she did this show. She's been in a few other things also, but everyone kept saying, "Oh, you got to watch this." And I watched a clip of her doing stand up. And I was like, this is actually funny. And usually comedians if there's a movie about comedians, it's not usually funny. Like, even if there are comedians doing it, they're not funny. So I Married an Axe Murderer. Mike Myers, his stand-up and performances aren't funny in the movie, but he's hilarious. Funny people's good, yeah, that's true.
It's got a slow burn to it, but like the different, like whenever I'm gonna feel bad. Plaza, what's her first name?
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza. Whenever she's doing her stand-up, like that's like, I don't know. I'm gonna guess she didn't write it, but like
but she performed it.
The writer played to her strengths. Good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna give anything away. Like, I know we could probably gush about it, but like there were some really cool cameos in like season 3. And things that, like, if you know about the time period, you know what they're talking about or what they're referencing. Like, the bassist that she hung out with is like straight up based on a real bassist who was like one of the only female session musicians, and she's amazing. Immediately, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, that's who that is. It's Carol. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, I knew the comedian the comedian that makes a cameo.
Lenny Bruce? Or are you talking about the other?
No.
The one in season 3. Yeah, that was great. I love the cameo in that. But there are other characters that pop up or references that, like, if you know the time period, you know what they're doing, or it's an actor cameo like you're referring to. But good stuff. Also, you watched Picard. I've not watched it yet.
I did.
I've got it ready, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, and I was going to say that other sci-fi show on Amazon is one that I've been told to check out as well.
Which one? Expanse? Or
yeah, I've heard that's pretty good. The one where they go to Mars or whatever.
Yeah.
But Picard. So if you're a Star Trek fan, you're probably going to watch it, except for the fact that it's locked behind a paywall on CBS All Access. I do say, if you get CBS All Access, don't just do it. Watch Discovery too. Like Discovery is solid. Like it's not 90s Trek though. You have to get over the fact that 90s Trek is gone. They do think technology has evolved in the last 20 years. I'm just gonna say that. There's things about think about what you see in Trek and think about if TNG was made in 2020, and you'll get to where Discovery kind of is now. Some of it's kind of out there, but watch Discovery too. But Picard, I'm gonna say it was solid. There's a couple people that I talked to that were like, "That's amazing." I think there's definitely a Patrick Stewart bias going on to it, which is completely understandable because Sir Pat is amazing. He's one of the best like famous human beings there is, in terms of like his, you know, outside of theater. Like he's a good person. So I think that there's some bias going on. He's clearly almost 80 years old. I had to look up how old he was. He's 79 right now. There's some moving around that he does where he is very slow. And it's not, I'm not saying that to depress anybody. I'm saying in the fact that we're like watching the show, don't expect like super BA Picard. Like expect the cerebral one that you also love. It's not gonna be like your First Contact Picard though, where like the line must be well, it was solid though. It has a really it sets up a really good premise. I'm not gonna spoil anything about the episode. I will say they do a little preview of the season at the end of it. It makes it exciting. I now see the direction that we're taking it. I think that he got over something very quickly, and if anybody has watched the episode, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But there's a thing that happens, and I think he gets over it pretty fast, and it kind of is a weird way to like say, I'm gonna launch the show from here, but they're just like, nope, that's what we're launching the show from. So we're just gonna take it and run with it. I also do like that they included. They made it very clear that that they included 2009 Star Trek movie. That timeline did affect this show, not greatly, but like the thing that happened, did happen. So it's in like the prime timeline or whatever it is. So like there's different timelines now. It's in the prime one, and they built directly off of Nemesis, and not a lot of people like Nemesis. I actually do enjoy Nemesis quite a bit. I think it'll be good. I don't know how great I'm gonna think it is, because I think I'm looking at it a very critical lens, because I don't know why. Like I love Star Wars more, and I know that Trek and Star Wars can both be loved. I do love Trek as well. DS9 is the best Trek of all time.
It is.
Fight me. I dare all of you people who listen to this podcast. It is superior to TNG, and I don't care what you say.
Look, Cisco punched Q in the face, okay? Cisco punched Q in the face. Okay, Picard did some great stuff with him, but that was one of my favorite moments, because I going into Deep Space Nine, like I'd watched Next Generation with my dad. I watched Deep Space Nine and a TV in my room where my dad was probably watching it at the same time. We watched some episodes together, but I grew up with Next Generation. But Deep Space Nine was my show that I watched on my own. I chose to watch it, and it hooked me from the beginning with the different cultures having to live together and watching. I was a sucker for like the Ferengi and like the Klingon, like when they dig really deep into the stuff. Bajoran's pretty good too, but like they could have a whole Ferengi episode and it worked. And Cisco, they got an amazing actor to pull out some emotions. Like Cisco is the emotion of Star Trek. Picard is the brains, which is why when you said it's cerebral, I'm like, that's fine. And if you want someone to punch, you bring in William Shatner. He'll get drunk and punch you. That's what happens.
And the Cisco, like, I also just a big fan of, like, I'm not a big fan of war, but I was a big fan of like what they did with the Dominion War, and Cisco was the perfect captain during the Dominion War. I'm not really good at remembering the names of episodes. But the episode of where he gets the Romulans into the war is awesome. So good. Where you know what I'm talking about? Where he's talking to his personal log, and then he erases the personal. Oh, so good. So This is also not a Trek show, so that's the last thing I want to say about it. It's Star Trek. It's in the Star Trek universe, but at least so far, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a boldly go type of show. It's it's clearly like this drama that has a through point that they are following, and I will say it's kind of similar to Discovery. Discovery definitely has like a through line. There is not a whole lot of Monster of the Week stuff going on in Discovery either. But get your CBS All Access for a month, like next month, if you are kind of hesitant, because that way the season will be almost over. You get your month, you catch up, you watch Discovery, you watch Picard, you get your Star Trek on, and don't worry, I'll be talking about it as we go on.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. I didn't get to watch it today. Today's my last day before I go on a little vacation on a cruise, and I'm really looking forward to that. But unfortunately, with the show and everything, with the show and packing and all that, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to watch this and sit down and watch it. Like, I could put it on the TV while I'm packing. That's not going to count. So I have it like downloaded to watch on the cruise because I know there's going to be downtime while I'll be able to watch it. Because I didn't feel like I could wait until Tuesday or Monday night. But I'm really excited about it. I think
nor should you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the next, I know we're going to watch Star Wars TV shows and talk about them, but we could also do some Star Trek movies in there because I got some love-hate relationships with them.
Okay, as long as you're not making me watch, and this probably, if Alex is watching, he's not gonna be a fan of this. I'm not watching the old Star Trek movies. Like, I hate shit. I don't like Kirk at all. I really don't. And so if we want to do this, I'll start with Generations and I'll watch all the TNG movies.
I will do that. I will do that. We can deal.
You want to do it? You want to do a TNG in review?
Let's do it. Okay. Let's do the movies. I guess I could do TNG the series. Those are going to take longer.
No. I mean the movies.
Movies, yeah, totally. We could totally do that.
Now, if we were going to do a review, I would want to talk Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine.
We're talking. I mean, all of those shows, like even the original series is 90 episodes. Like it's only 3 seasons. It won't take. It's like 3 seasons, like 30 episodes a piece.
Yeah.
Like no. I would much rather get you to watch Clone Wars and Rebels with me.
Sure.
Because I'm watching Clone Wars right now.
Well, like also I feel like TNG's quality, like we remember the really good stuff from it. Yeah. And there's a roller coaster
that first
quality.
Year was
first year's rough. Did you see the stuff that, I don't know if you've seen it going around, where it shows like the first season, and I think it was like third or fourth, maybe it's even second season of each person. Like showing Worf's hair in the first season and Geordi's hair, and even like who's Beverly Crusher's. Like everybody's looking at. The only person who still looks good is Picard, but everybody else like just it.
And that's just because
their hair looked
Patrick
like it was
Stewart is like he's got this solid look about him.
Sure. Did you see the original stuff where he has like a toupee? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Like that was just trash. Yeah. But the first season, their hair looks like they were in the late 80s, and then the second season they're like, all right, let's clean this up. Let's make it look a little different, and it worked. It worked so much better that way.
So I say before we get to Clone Wars and Rebels, even though I'm watching Clone Wars right now, we definitely. Let's plan to start at some point, and I'll start with Generations because I haven't seen the movie in forever. Same here.
I'll make the wife watch.
So there's Generations, there's First Contact, there's Nemesis. Is there a fourth one?
Insurrection. Yeah. So we'll watch those and talk about them, and I will send you a link, but if you haven't seen Red Letter Media's reviews of Star Wars and Star Trek, I think they're great. Whitney doesn't like the Star Trek ones, but every time I watch them now, like I'm thinking of the commentary that he gives off of it. Whitney doesn't want to watch them, but I think I'll have to subject her to it.
I mean, you can send it. You never know. Is it on YouTube? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, the reviews are on YouTube. Yeah. She loves the reviews, but she doesn't. I think she's only watched like part of one of the movies. I don't think she's watched all of them. Yeah, so I'm gonna make her sit down and go through Generations.
I don't know if I can make my wife watch anything, but she watched parts. It's more of like I just put it up on the TV, and she'll sit there while it happens.
That's fine. Yeah, she can be
likes
on her
Star Trek
computer.
Okay,
whatever.
but like I asked her if she wanted to watch Picard, and she's like, nope. I was like, okay.
All right, cool. That's fine.
I don't have to wait on you then. I'll watch it this afternoon.
That's
I thought it wouldn't be live until tonight, but then like it was on my lunch break.
That's perfect.
From work, so I clocked off, and then it was like, "Hey, Picard's streaming now." I'm like, "Oh, double click."
That is perfect. I will say one of the benefits from home that anyone who works from home knows this, so it's not like I'm saying I'm lazy or I'm not doing my work, but I can be on like a conference call or I can be listening in on something and take a step away and like heat up my lunch or like get the dishes done. So I've had times like that where I've got my lunch break and I'm still working, but at the same time, like I may be like listening in or chiming in every now and then while I'm grilling. I did that on Wednesday. Like I was grilling on the grill while I was working, but it worked out. Then my lunch break happened and I had some nice grilled chicken and cauliflower rice. It was good stuff.
I can't go that hardcore, but I me and my microwave have a good relationship with each other.
Oh, I know. I usually don't do that. Usually it's like I've got some stuff in the oven is usually the extent of it. But Wednesday was like, you know what? I really want some grilled chicken, and I'm not going to be able to drive to go. Like I got a Greek place that's near me that's really good. But I was like, I'm not going to be able to drive over to that, so I'll just make it myself.
Yeah. I've been trying to eat healthier too, so like I have not having as much fun. I don't get off lunch and like I'm gonna go get even Greek stuff, which is generally healthy, but like I'm with the intermittent fasting stuff, like I go with like yogurt, fruit, and boiled eggs.
Dude, I've got the packs of boiled eggs, but like it's all about setting yourself up for success. Slight fitness soapbox.
This is not a fitness blog.
Setting yourself up for it, but like if you buy junk food and you have it at the house, you're gonna eat that. Like, so we don't buy any candy because we're gonna eat the candy. Whitney, like I got when Halloween comes around, I buy all the big bags of candy for the kids, and I have to buy like a bag and a half more because Whitney will eat the candy because it's there. She can't stop herself. So like that's why we don't have it in the house. Same thing with like regular food, like just having good food. Like I got some egg white frittatas from Costco, like that you can microwave, and they're really good.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'll say about the candy too. What I do is we discovered that you can like ship candy to the troops, and so I just buy whatever amount of candy that never ever gets ate, and then we ship it to the troops. So that way it doesn't stay in the house because I will eat it. Otherwise, I have some self-control, but you stick some Snickers in front of me and we got a problem. And I'm not going to not buy Snickers because I'm not that house that buys the crappy candy for the kids.
Oh, no.
I'm not that person who like buys like the Smarties are okay, but like there's premium. You get if you come to my house on Halloween, there's Sour Patch Kids, there's Snickers, there's Reese's, there's Twizzlers,
I get those.
There's the good stuff.
Yeah. I don't even get the Twizzlers anymore because like I don't think that they're like, I think they're like way too small of packs. But I got the Snickers, I got the Mounds bars, I got whatever. Like I do that, and I'm usually like, I like kids like grabbing one candy. I'm like, grab a couple, like because you have these kids that are trying to leave more for people, and I purposely get more candy because I want the kid to have that experience of like getting exactly what they want when they come to the house.
And I always buy too much anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. And I don't want to be there, like be that family like you said that has the cheap candy or like those weird like the circular peanut butter ones with the white inside, and it's like it's not caramel, but I hate them.
Yeah, or like the person my dad loved it, that toffee stuff, like the one that came in like the orange and the black wrappers.
Oh yeah.
Like that. It's toffee, I think, but awful candy. My dad seemed to love it for some reason, but I was like, it's the worst candy of all time.
It probably brought back a childhood memory for him.
It could
that
be.
Like I mean that just does that. Certain foods do that for people. Like like mac and cheese and fish sticks. Like it's a classic combination that you're like, this is comfort food because I was a kid eating it. That kind of stuff.
David and Chad said we got a new segment called Protein with Patrick.
I would totally do that. Don't get me wrong, I would totally do that. Anyways, we'll get off that.
We need like a news button. We need like a thing where I don't know if anybody in the audience would like this, but if we had like segue things where we just press the button, all of a sudden we'll be like talking, then we press the button and then like it's like time for the news. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. That's one thing that I'm working on, by the way. Owen cannot hear if I have audio playing here. Owen can't hear it. I'm trying to work on a new way to do that, so then you could hear the audio cue. Because then it'd be visual, audio, and stuff like that. I'd totally cue that up. So time to go back to the news. We were talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. We got a trailer for Clone Wars Season 7. And you know what? Say what you want about the show. It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
It definitely evolved. Like season 1 looks a little rough.
Yeah, yeah. But and I when season 1 and the movie came out, I was not happy because I loved the OG Star Wars with the I forgot the guys who did it. The guy who did Samurai Jack, and I liked those better. The 2D Clone Wars, but this seems like you said, it's evolved, it's matured, and I'm excited about it. And there are things in this that I'm not going to spoil, but there's things that are in this that were in Mandalorian, so I gotta watch it now.
So you gotta watch it for a couple reasons. One, your boy Darth Maul comes back. That's big. He's also in Rebels. He's a big part of Rebels, by the way. So if you're a Darth Maul fan, you should definitely be watching some Rebels and some Clone Wars. I have not seen all of Clone Wars. I am working my way through it now to get ready for this last season because Ahsoka is awesome. Yeah. So I got introduced to Ahsoka with Rebels. I knew that she existed, but like I really got into it. Her character with Rebels. It's just awesome to have a non-human Jedi like that is dope. You know, there's plenty of them that exist, but we never really gotten anywhere deep with them. Like Yoda exists, and we know he's awesome.
Kit Fisto, who just looks weird. Like he's cool in the background, but as soon as you see him, you're like.
And you know, Rob's on season 4 now, so I will say, if you haven't started it yet, season 1, don't get put off by it. Season 1 is a slog. It is not very good. The writing is very and then so I would almost even say like maybe look up online to see if there's key episodes you need to watch, but so far I wouldn't say there was anything really of consequence in season 1, so you might just skip it all together if you're not into it at all. Season 2 though starts to go off, and then season 3 is starting to go really off. Like I'm not, again, no spoilers, but there's parts in there where like they actually have like clone troopers getting shot. They have Jedi. They show like a couple of different Jedi, and it doesn't matter who they are because you don't know who they are. But they show like a Jedi like dying, and not in like a like he just falls off a cliff type of way. Like they show it's kind of brutal. And this was like a cartoon. It's just targeted towards kids. I'm wondering, was it on like Disney Teen or whatever it was? But it's a little in your face. It's a little intense, and for a cartoon, I thought that was pretty dope. So season 2 really starts to go off. Rob says watch every season, will be judged, but there's a lot, there's a lot of content. There's like 25 episodes a season, so it's a thing of, do you want to put in all the time? But I did, because I'm Star Wars and I can't help myself. I've been on this high ever since before episode 9 and Jedi Fallen Order. Like I've just been writing it, and I'm gonna write it until it somehow crests. And we went from 9. We finished Mandalorian, and then I started playing Battlefront 2 again, and now I'm watching Clone Wars, and then Clone Wars season 7's gonna come out February 21st, and so we're just gonna ride Star Wars until I hit some wall, which is never going to happen because it hasn't happened since I was 3 years old.
That's when you cycle back.
Yeah.
And you go watch the original trilogy again. Yeah. Have you? So I have not done this, by the way. Have you seen the Ewoks TV show? Oops, wrong button. Sorry. Have you seen the Ewoks TV show?
The Ewoks TV show, no.
It's
on Plus though, right?
I think it's on Plus. I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure you watched the holiday special. You subjected yourself to that, but I haven't seen.
What do you mean subjected myself? The holiday special is genius.
like a quarter of it is bearable, and the rest is just cringeworthy. But
this
then
coming
again,
from the guy who likes The Room.
Okay, I like, and I have a new one, by the way. But I like how bad it is. I watch it and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I have a new director who's done like 4 movies that's worse than Tommy Wiseau. So
it's possible.
I'm
not gonna watch it to prove your point or anything. But I don't think it's possible.
Like I've watched one. I watched one in pieces. Like that's not the name of the movie. I watched it like before Whitney came home, and over a couple days, and I think she has to experience it just to understand like how terrible things can be.
I almost stopped being friends with you whenever I watched it. So Patrick like moved to Florida at some point a couple years ago, and like his going away thing was like, we're gonna watch The Room, and I was like, I'm gonna do this for Patrick, and then I was like, I might not talk to Patrick again. I was upset. I was visibly upset. I sat behind everybody. My wife just kept staring at me because this was me the entire time.
Yep. Yep. I've subject people to it regularly. I haven't subjected anyone to it in quite a while, but used to be I would subject people to it regularly. I would tell people. It's not that they'd come over and be like, "Hey, surprise, we're going to watch the worst movie." We did it for a birthday party of mine. Like I wanted to watch The Room, and I think I'm going to do it again. And I don't think I could do a back-to-back. I don't think other people can do it. I could do it, but like back-to-back of The Room and another really bad movie.
That's how you lose friends.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's how you know who your real friends are, is when they stick around after watching The Room. Because as the famous story that listeners of the show will remember is John and I once watched it. Everyone else bailed on a watching party. It was supposed to be 16, 17 people, and everyone else bailed except for John and two 18-year-old girls and me. And I've never talked to them ever again.
Of course not.
They left right afterwards. As soon as someone else showed up, they're like, bye. Anyways,
lucky I want to talk video games then.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of video games, we got some Joy-Con patent, not really leaks, but some patent stuff.
Yeah.
Which was like, okay, that's interesting. And then there's a stylist. While that's not something I'm asking for, I know there are people who like it for certain games to be able to draw on it. I mean, to me, the Nintendo Switch is so multifaceted that doing this would only enhance it. And it appears to be, I'm going to double check that picture again. It appears to be that it's another one of the, whatever they're called, the Joy-Con grip things, or whatever they're called. It's one of those that has a stylus. So in that case, that's cool. If it's compatible with my existing Joy-Cons, awesome, because I'm not buying another set of Joy-Cons. But if you have that for an extra $10 or whatever, yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where, Nintendo just does weird stuff, and they do it like there's Ring Fit Adventure, which by the way is actually pretty great. My wife's playing it pretty consistently now. She's actually ahead of me in the like campaign of Ring Fit Adventure now. So like that's a Pilates ring.
Yeah,
that they made. They made
Good for her.
Labo, which a buddy of mine got one of those on sale for his kid's birthday. It like has like this cardboard backpack and like
the robot.
Yeah. And apparently the kid really dug it.
Cool.
So they make these things where it's like, this isn't going to be for everybody, but we'll find somebody that likes this thing. So it looks like it's like kind of stylish, but maybe you can draw with it, or maybe it can be used as like a pointing thing. The only thing to me is just that obviously Nintendo's going to have to throw some money at some games for it to be used, because there's not a lot of touch function going on. Like the most touchscreen things that I do in the game currently, by game I mean like the main menu, is like I touch the keyboard to put in my password while I buy more games that I shouldn't be buying,
because it's quicker than sliding around.
I found out you can Bluetooth a keyboard to the Switch, by the way.
Nice.
So but that's really it. Like I don't use the touchscreen for much of anything on that. So it's one of those things where it's kind of awkward, because if you're playing it in handheld mode, like you almost have to use the kickstand if you're doing this, because you're like, what am I? Or it's going to be like on your lap, which I guess and that looks really bad on camera. Sorry.
Yeah.
That I'm sure like a kid will like dig whatever game it is. Whatever. Nintendo, you keep doing weird new things.
Yeah.
Some stuff sticks, some stuff doesn't. But at least the thing that I can always credit Nintendo for is like they push. They try. They're willing to try.
Yeah, and there's a lot of innovation that, because they're innovating, some stuff sticks, most of it doesn't. But the fact that they're doing that, a lot of the good stuff sticks, and other people do it. That's why our controllers all look like SNES controllers, because it's great. I mean, the overall layout is like a Super Nintendo controller. Yeah.
Sorry, you were talking and you flipped the camera, so I was like, hey.
I thought you were going to say something.
Okay. No.
Yeah. But
Okay, I'm good looking. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we got some to end the show. I got another delay, another indefinite delay.
Square is having
2.
a bad month, dude.
What the heck? So I'll admit I didn't play the first Dying Light, but that I know a lot of people liked it. I feel like it's like the Metro games, where the people who've played it have really enjoyed it, and the people who haven't are busy living their lives playing all the other games. But yeah, really sad. This one delayed indefinitely, similar to our Obi Wan situation. So I'm hoping that it gets back on, because honestly, this looks better than the first Dying Light game.
Yeah, and it has like I don't know if you ever played that one game where you like parkour around.
Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. So there's obviously like weapons and stuff, but it has like some Mirror's Edge-esque things too, where like if you're jumping around, and you can climb across things. It was kind of a game that got overlooked. Because like I forget what came out around it, but it came out early in the year, and it was in 2015, so it was kind of before like big games started coming out early in the year. Like famously, like God of War came out in 2018, like early, but it came out early in 2015 and just kind of wasn't played. But it actually turned out to be pretty popular, and I know, like you said, the people who like it, they're looking forward to this game. And as far as I know, I want to say Square was doing it, but maybe it's Warner Brothers, and I want to check into it, because I was going to say Square's having like a bad month if they were publishing it, and I thought they were. It is being published by Square Enix. So
it came out the same month as Fallout 4, by the way.
Oh, so that that'll do it. So in the last week, we've had Final Fantasy VII delayed, the shortest. We had Avengers delayed until September, right next to Cyberpunk, which is awful for Avengers. And then now Dying Light 2. Now, in this case, Square doesn't own Techland, as far as I know. So it may not necessarily, it probably isn't like Square's fault necessarily, but it's a game that Square is putting out, and it, so in this case, it's under their banner and not coming out. Like, what? Again, I'm not going to blame this one on Square, because Techland isn't a very big publisher or developer to begin with, but make a timeline, stick to it. Like, give it. Final Fantasy VII got announced in 2015. This game got announced in 2017, probably. Yeah, so it's not as bad. And then I don't know, man.
My problem is like either go. There's only certain developers who can announce something and be like, it's going to come out at some point, and they'll get away with it. And as much as we rag on them, Bethesda, like if Bethesda was like, yeah, we're working on the next Elder Scrolls, which they did say, and we haven't heard anything in like almost 2 years about that.
E3 2018, I think.
E3 2018. So 1.5 years, we've heard nothing. They didn't, and all we saw was a landscape, like gliding across, and it said Elder Scrolls 6, and I'm gonna buy it, but at the same time, like I know nothing about it.
I'll buy the space one.
Oh yeah. That one's
coming. That's the other one we haven't heard about since 2018 either.
Yep, that one's supposed to come out first, and I know they have other properties, but Bethesda is one that can announce something and be like, yeah, we're working on something, and then wait. Rockstar could get away with it. They don't usually, but they could get away with it.
No, they just stay quiet. Like that's why I love like a Rockstar, because like they'll tell you about it when they're ready. Like when they say like, hey, it's going to come out this year. I think whenever we got the Red Dead 2 announcement, I think it was out 6 months from when it was, everybody knew that it was in development. It's just like, we know GTA 6 is being made. We just don't know when or where. Like there was no fanfare about it. Whereas like they made a fanfare about Final Fantasy VII in 2015, and the director didn't even know he was going to be working on it. He was still working on Kingdom Hearts. And I hate it. I love Square so much. And again, this Dying Light thing is probably not their fault at all, but I love Square so much, and I forgive them almost every time, and I probably continue to forgive them because I love their games so much. It's just, it gets so frustrating. I don't mind delays. Like we talked about that last week when all these delays were getting announced. We want a game to be made well. That's first and foremost. Give me a good game over a broken game. But it would be nice if you just would put a little bit less time between like announcing things and making a whole big thing and then bringing out the game. Like if they had announced Final Fantasy VII Remake last year and the game was like almost done and it looked as amazing as it has looked, and then they came out a couple weeks, last week and said like, hey, sorry, we need a couple more weeks of polish. Like, fine. But with this, it's like, you told us about this game 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yep, literally 5 years ago. And that's what I had to look up. Dying Light 2015. I'm like, oh, like for some like I felt like that came out like 2 years ago. It came out 5 years ago. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Like, we want to be excited with you, but unfortunately we have shorter attention spans now, and 6 months is an adequate wait time, but over a year, and people it loses momentum is really what it is. I would like to know, like, from Rockstar, like, for them to say GTA whatever it is, and then just tell us, like, give us the name or tell us the setting. I would like to know that. Personally, I'd really like to go back to a Vice City kind of thing, but that's just me.
I want them to make Bully 2, dude. Like,
Bully 2 would be great.
Like, that's a friend, like, because they've talked about GTA 6 and the fact that it's a weird political climate that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And GTA already pushes the boundaries of a lot of stuff, and so they were like, we want to make it to where it's something that you will still enjoy it without getting, they don't want to like tick everybody off, which I get, but you would think they would just not care, because it's not like their games are like known for like their over morale.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna do that, Rockstar was just like, I don't care, I'm gonna do it. Rob in the comments saying I still need someone to announce a game and drop it a day or a week, like announce it when it's being boxed up to the stores.
Dude, Shadow Drop, baby.
Yeah, Shadow Drop, like, you can do that digitally. We haven't seen any big players do it yet, but if Rockstar said Grand Theft Auto comes out tomorrow, like, everybody calling sick. Everybody.
Yeah, that would be hardcore. That'd be ridiculous. That would be like, because the AAA studios is never going to do it. Like, the closest thing that I can think of, and it's because it's not as big of a deal, but like Respawn announced Apex and it was out in like 2 weeks.
That was beautiful. Yeah.
And that was awesome. And Apex was one of the best multiplayer games of 2019. But no, Rockstar's not gonna, because they want the pre-orders. They want the guaranteed money. That'd be dope.
Unfortunately, that's what it is. Pre-orders, well, not only the guaranteed money, but now games are viewed, instead of it being like opening night ticket sales, opening weekend ticket sales for a movie, they view the first day sales of a game and pre-orders as like a litmus test for success. And that's not what it should be. To me, the best litmus test for success in a game is the staying power. When you have a game that's still on the shelf, other than Nintendo pricing, you have a game that's on the shelf that keeps the value up and isn't discounted in a month or a month and a half, then that proves it. I mean, you can still get GTA for the age of the game. The game should be like $5 or $10, and it's more because it's worth it.
And not only is it worth, like, GTA 5 is still, the game came out on the Xbox 360 and PS3, and it is still consistently on NPD's top selling games of the year list every single year, year in and year out. That game, so like, that's a game that is made to last, and I think that's the other reason they're not necessarily in a hurry with GTA 6, because there's like, why bother? We're making tons of money off you right now.
I'd love to see a San Andreas and Vice City. Like I loved Vice City. 3 was good. Vice City took it to another level, and then San Andreas was even better. Other than the atmosphere of the 80s, San Andreas was a better game. I'd love to see them redo that, or go back to that era. Like, actually just do a remake with the GTA 5 engine of San Andreas. That'd be, I mean, I don't think anybody would, I think it'd be an instant buy for everybody who's bought GTA 5.
That's why I really, like, Bully was a great game. And it was different, like, in the sense that, like, it's not about, like, murdering and stuff like Red Dead and GTA is, but it still has that same, like, feel to it. It's still a mature game, but like, it has just a different heart to it at the same time. Like, I want I want some bully. That's what I think needs to happen.
Yeah, I remember when that game came out, or that wasn't when the game came out, but I hadn't played it, and John, our mutual friend John, friend of the show, was like, dude, you have to play this game. I was like, I don't know if that sounds like it'd be it would be something that'd be worth the time, for a full game, and it totally is. It totally is. And I think, especially in this climate, you should be able to do a game like that and talk about things like that, because if you don't, then it takes away the gravity of the situation. You can't censor everything. If you do it, it takes away the repercussions of the situation. So bring it on. Give me some more bully.
Speaking of games that are willing to take on hard topics, Ninja Theory, who is the maker of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and is making Hellblade 2 for Xbox Series X, and I guess Xbox One as well, teased this new project that they're calling Project Mara, which is a psychological horror game in which it's supposed to be very grounded. Apparently they had, just like with Hellblade, where they talked to they did a lot of studying about schizophrenia. In this one, I don't know who they all talked to and everything, but it has to do with mental terror. And so they just put out a little teaser, so we don't know how the game is going to play or anything like that. But after playing Hellblade and how seriously they take doing mental issues, the fact that they're doing another game, and the fact that they're also working on two big looking games at the same time, that's that Microsoft money at play.
It is.
No, Ninja Theory got bought by Microsoft this last year.
But man, those are some really great. I mean, there are games we the game we started talking about. Forgot the name of it. I've got it on my list in front of me. The game you watched, you played this past week.
Sea of Solitude.
Yeah, Sea of Solitude. Similar to that, where there are usually it's indie games that tackle something that's that deep, something that gets that real about depression and anxiety and those things. But Ninja Theory has a great way of showing it to us in a raw situation, and keeps you entertained but also respecting the subject material. You're not trying to make fun of it or demonize it. It's this is terrifying, and this is what it's like to be in this situation. And I think it's great. I know it's not necessarily up your alley. I'm totally buying this.
Yeah, so apparently this one features one character in one location. So maybe she's in a mental facility, or they they haven't said that at all, or maybe who knows, maybe she's just at home. And so apparently you're just going to experience whatever it is what Amara, I guess is the character's name, is going through. And apparently this makes the 4th game that Ninja Theory is working on. So they're working on 4 games right now, which sounds insane. They're working on another project called Project Insight. And that apparently is a game about anxiety. And so the schizophrenia, we'll see if what mental terror is and what that has to do with, and then anxiety. And I know, again, just based on what they did with the first Hellblade, that they take this kind of thing seriously. It's not going to be a thing they mess up. I do think that this is crazy, though, that you don't normally see a studio working on that many games at once, unless they are the
Blizzard.
Well, no, not necessarily Blizzard, but those companies that work for other developers, where they take some of their I'm not a programmer, guys, I'm sorry, but they take some of their outsource, that's the word I'm looking for. They outsource some of that work to companies, and that happens a lot with studios who are trying to build up enough capital to make their own game.
Sure.
But this, that means they have 4 teams. That Microsoft money, yeah.
I hope that it's the Microsoft money. I hope they haven't outsourced it, because I love me some Gearbox, but the Gearbox games that are amazing are the ones Gearbox did, and the ones that didn't hit the mark for one reason or another.
Pre-sequel.
Yeah. So much of it was outsourced. I was going to say Alien Isolation. Not Alien Isolation. Sorry, not Alien Isolation is good. It's the other one. the other Aliens, Colonial Marines, and then
Colonial Marines is
yeah,
awful.
yeah, that one, and then what was the other one? The Duke Nukem, which they shouldn't have outsourced, but they outsourced part of that.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be a sandwich anyways, no matter what happened. But every game, like that pre-sequel and Alien Colonial Marines, they could have been so much better. And the team didn't put their heart into it fully because they were trying to make that Borderlands money later on. And I don't know how the sales figures were on Borderlands 3, but I know they suffered in comparison to what they could have done had it not been for those, for people playing those games. Like, I know people who went out and bought Aliens Colonial Marines, and they're fans of Aliens, they're fans of Borderlands, and hated it.
Man, can we get another Alien versus Predator game?
Yeah. Dude, I want that. Apparently there was a Terminator game that came out last year that I had no idea about that I may have to check out.
Came right around the movie. I'm pretty sure it was like in the 6 or 7 range.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, I'm sure if you find it on sale or something, I'm sure.
Sure. Oh, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I saw Jim Sterling did a review of it, and he was like, he basically was like, I was gonna play this and talk about how bad it was, but it was enjoyable. So it's like, that's pretty cool.
The only part that's a bummer is that this game is probably not going to come out on PlayStation unless they were working on it before PlayStation came out.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I need some reason to buy an Xbox Series X thing because right now I don't have that much of a reason. I forgot one of my stories. Hold on, let me put this up really quick.
Well,
I'll let you talk for a second while I do this.
So with the if what Phil Spencer said is true, you may not have to if all their games in the first year to 18 months are coming out on the Xbox One as well. Maybe you don't have to unless you just wanted to, look that much better. Because I can't, after seeing Hellblade 2, I wouldn't be able to play Hellblade 2 on Xbox One. That game looked way too good running on Series X.
Yeah, well, I mean, Series X, the Xbox One X that I have, all the games look better on it. And we were buying Assassin's Creed and other games when it came, if the game came out, if the game came out on multi-platform, we bought Assassin's Creed on the Xbox One X because it looks better. But gradually we started playing pretty much everything on PlayStation because the majority of the games we wanted to play were there. And then we started buying multi-plats for that too. The last thing that I completely forgot, to be very brief on it though, was we got a leak, alleged leak, I think it's pretty real, the ports on the back of the Xbox Series One X. And I'll zoom in just a little bit for
which are different from the ports that we saw that was in the thing from CES where NVIDIA just kind of put up a piece of art that looked like a Series X.
Yes.
And then they were like, this isn't the real art.
Yep. So this there's not a so by the way, the big the rectangular thing right in the middle, that is a data port specifically for debug and everything on prototypes. We're not gonna
I thought it was a memory card slot. So
yeah, that's what a lot of people thought. That's seen a lot of prototypes. So if it's a memory card slot, I will be extremely surprised. You got the USB-A in there for that if you need to do it. You got one HDMI port, which if you don't
on USB-C it, dude.
I know, dude, everything I have is going to go on USB-C.
I love USB-C.
So here's the Xbox One X, by the way, just for comparison. You can see there's 2 HDMI ports. They dropped the idea of the additional HDMI port, so the Xbox One has an HDMI in, so you can have a DVR. You run your TV through it, and depending on what you're running through it, if you're running cable through it, it's okay. But if you're running certain other processes through it, then it's it won't let you capture essentially or stream it because they're afraid people will stream it. They've dropped the support. They've dropped the physical port, which will save a couple bucks actually in the build. Definitely save. It'll save a couple bucks in the port. It'll save more on the cart on the actual motherboard. But at the same time, I don't know anyone who used it. I was only using it to try to stream things that I try to stream PS3 to YouTube or different things like that because I didn't have a way to do it natively, and it wasn't good.
No, and I mean with the increasing, I think the easy way to drop it is like there's an increasing number of people who don't use cable boxes. Like, I just dropped mine actually. I had Sling, and I just canceled it. I bought a digital antenna that has like a 50-mile range over to Dallas, so I get all the local stuff. And we just weren't watching it. I'll buy it again. I'll go again whenever NFL season comes back around. But regardless, people are using YouTube TV, they're using Hulu, they're using Sling, they're using DirecTV Now. Like, they don't need a cable box anymore. You just download the app.
Yep.
And so there's virtually no reason to have HDMI in. The only thing that's kind of disappointing is just like, I kind of thought there'd be more ports, like in a weird way. Like, this only had two USB 3.0s, I'm guessing, which again, why are you not using USB-C?
Yeah, USB 3.0A. Yeah, and then Ethernet. Honestly, it's still the most stable. Even with my mesh network, it's still more stable for Ethernet.
I will say it looks like the power supply's inside the box.
Man, I would hope so. I would hope so at this point. But
God, that brick is so annoying. Like, it's a dumb thing to complain about because it's like, whatever, I just stick it underneath the entertainment center. But like at the same time, like I'm in the middle of organizing all my cords, and I actually went through a whole thing last Friday of my main TV, wrapping every single cord. I bought one of those like cord boxes to put the power strip in to limit the things that my son can grab when he starts calling around. I know he's still going to be able to grab things, but it at least consolidated it and didn't make it anything that like I'm afraid of him just like ripping out everything. Like, I made it to where I could literally unplug the power strip from the wall and I could move the entertainment center. Like, obviously I wouldn't do that, but I can move the entire entertainment center just from unplugging that because of how I organized all the cords. But that power brick, like on the Xbox One, it's just in the way. It's just sitting there. It's just like, what do I do with it? So that looked like the power supply's inside, which is nice.
Yeah. David in the comments saying there was a Predator game coming out, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Vanessa, there's a Terminator game.
Terminator Resistance.
Yeah, and I've heard it is like Fallout Light in that, and that's what Jim Sterling basically said about it, where he's like, it's a first-person shooter, but you can actually talk to people and their dialogue like matters. Like, you could offend someone or like make them happy by your response. And I thought that was cool. I mean, even if it's a light attempt, Fallout gets, Fallout and Elder Scrolls can get very deep in regards to their dialogue trees and everything. But to see to me, honestly, Dragon Age and Mass Effect do a better job than Fallout. But it's nice to see games doing that.
Oh, just put it on the Steam wish list. Look at us, Steam.
There you go.
We're hooking you up.
Yep. So when it gets on a nice sale, then you can snag it. Yeah.
We actually ended up talking about a lot of stuff, but I want to eventually, maybe next week, we can talk about a little. I just want to talk about backlog stuff in general. It's just I'm trying. We have now with the announcement, we're pushed back to April for Final Fantasy VII. There's not much coming out in the first 3 months now that I want to buy. There is Kentucky Route Zero, which I am definitely going to buy next week because I can't help myself on story games. But I knocked off a game on my backlog and I bought 3 more. So
so my you knew my mid-year resolution last year was don't buy a game unless you're going to play it. Sinking City, Whitney saw at Best Buy and was like, I want to get this game. And I was like, immediately I'm looking up reviews. And she looked at me nicely and said, I don't care if the reviews are bad. Like, I really want to play this. I'm like, all right.
So she saw box art?
She saw the box art and she's like, this. Like, old school. I know. Right?
And I'm not clapping that in a mean way. That's a nice clap. That's a childhood feeling, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Like,
just
Best Buy. Going into Best Buy and grabbing something. Yeah, like, that's what I meant. Like, it was amazing because we scrutinize everything.
Yeah.
But I went into Best Buy to, honestly, I was buying a USB-C because everything should be USB-C. USB-C to HDMI for my Chromebook. There's only one thing that I have now that's not... Sorry, 2 things that I have that are not USB-C. My power brick, my portable power brick, is still micro USB, and my my Apple AirPods, and I know the new ones are USB-C, right? I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they are. Like, I was literally.
If Rob's still listening, he'll tell me.
Yeah, Rob will probably say it. But I was literally looking online. I was like, has anybody made USB-C, like a USB rechargeable case for my AirPods? And apparently some people have, but I don't know if I trust it.
No, you don't. Anything Apple hardware, like, I guess you could try it, but I would really want to like see if it syncs the same way.
Yeah,
that's part of the box, is that it's taking out and like sensing it.
I mean, even if it wasn't a sync, like I will leave my old one in the junk drawer if I have the one that I carry around with me that just lets it recharge. That would be amazing.
He said there's still Lightning, so I'm guessing that mean the AirPod Pro also didn't do USB.
That's what I thought. I thought the AirPod Pro was C, but oh well. Anyways,
I was hoping they would make that change with the iPhone 11 too, because just after having the Switch, it's just I want universal plugs, man.
Yep.
And I like, and that's the best thing about Lightning plugs for those who don't use Apple products. Is like they flip both ways. Like, it doesn't matter which way you plug it in. And so USB-C is a universal standard, and they've even used like MacBooks and stuff onto that. But I want everything. It's just it's fast. It's micro. Like the plugs and stuff are cheap.
So I mean, I'm packing for a trip, and I was like, I got my charger that'll charge my Switch, that'll charge my my Switch, my Chromebook, and my phone. Like, everything's charged off the same thing. And then I'm like, oh no, I got to bring 2 more cables because I have 2 things that don't charge off that. So this is the point where I'm like, should I buy like an adapter because that'll be easier to pack with? Anyways, first world problems.
We digress, right?
Yeah, we do.
That's what
Anyways,
you're here for.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys check us out.
Yeah, hope you guys had fun here hanging out with us live every single Thursday, and we'll be back next week with the show of shame. We'll just go through our backlog and make fun of each other for buying games that we've never played. So stay tuned for that.
Appreciate you guys that were hanging out in the chat today, and then for those who do listen, like us, rate us, share us if you think somebody might be interested, and like he said, Thursdays 7:30 Central-ish every week. We love you guys.
Later. We'll see you later.